I conceived him, but I was a virgin to like 23 plus. I never had sex with his dad.
Hey Bethas, what's up and welcome back to my channel. My name is Austin Betha. I'm really glad to have you here. Please do hit the subscribe button before you leave, and also give this video a very big thumbs up at the end if you enjoyed watching it. Okay guys, without wasting any more time, let's just go straight to talking about the wager task the housemates had last night. For me, it was deep, you know, and the state I was in, I didn't think I could film. I'm a very emotional person. I don't know if you guys know that, but I couldn't bring myself to sitting down and talking because my eyes were red. You know how people are talking and you're just crying. As they are crying, you're crying. That was how it was for me yesterday. So I couldn't. Now, apart from that, there were some other things that prevented me from filming yesterday. And I really want to say thank you to you guys for your patience, you know, for your response in my community page and all of that. Thank you so much. Now, guys, I'm going to talk about the housemates one after the other and just tell you guys briefly what they discussed. Because their wager task was all about them paying tribute to a hero in their life, as well as interpretations of art. Now, I mentioned to you guys in my last video that they were painting, and I just did not really understand why they were painting. Now, these paintings were actually symbolic, you know, so they took turns to explain what they had drawn and, you know, just what it means to them and all of that. So, for example, V spoke about her mom, and her portrait had a lot to do with she and her mom together and all of that. Now, let's just talk about the housemates one after the other. Maybe I should start with V since I already mentioned her. So, V spoke about her mom. She said her mom is the strongest person she knows, and that wherever her mom goes, she's always there. But for her, this is like the first time ever she would break free from her mom to find her own path. And you know, she also mentioned to us that because she's trying to find her own path, it's been almost a year since she last saw her mom and all of that. You know, she had a lot of nice things to say about her mom and just how her mom is really strong and all of that stuff. Okay, now for Erica talked about her mom and also explained why she's independent. You know, she explained that her dad was never there. You know, her dad wasn't present. You know, so her mom basically did everything. Her mom tried to give her the best life that she could afford. She told us that her mom actually tried to send her to the best schools, and she knows that there are people who actually have both their dads and their moms present but still cannot afford the kind of life that she had. They did not have it all, but then her mom tried her best to give her everything that she needed in life. She also told us that because her mom is very independent, that has kind of rubbed off on her. You know, she's a very independent person. She does almost everything by herself, and she just wants to make her mom proud, you know. Then for Tricky T, guys, Tricky T got me in my feelings. I don't know, like yesterday was just all shades of emotional, guys. Tricky T spoke about his mom. Oh my god, better stop this rubbish. Tricky T spoke about his mom and, you know, how his mom has always been there for him. You know, he mentioned how he has juggled from one job to the other. I think he mentioned about 9 jobs, and how he has failed multiple times in life. You know, sometimes he comes up with a business idea and before you know it, it's a flop. But that there's one person that has always been there and that has always shown him love and support regardless, and that person is his mom. You know, he broke down while he was talking. Guys, I don't know. I'm beginning to feel the same way I felt last night. I felt like, okay, if I come and talk about this thing this morning, I'll feel better, but oh well. Anyways, guys, let's talk about Bright O. Bright O actually came out to speak about his mom as well. In fact, he did the song, My Coat of Many Colors That My Mama Made For Me, Made Only From Rags That I Wore It So Proudly. You know, he did that. It was just emotional. You know, he had so many nice things to say about his mom and how his mom has always been there. You know, we moved on to Nengi. Guys, sometimes you look at people and you feel like their lives are just, you know, perfect and, you know, they have everything, but that's not the case. That's actually what yesterday did to me. It made me realize that not everything you see is actually the way you think it is. You know, Nengi looks all posh, but Nengi has gone through a lot as well. You know, she explained how her dad wasn't really there. You know, they were not rich. Her mom is an illiterate, but her mom made sure to send her to school. Her mom always tell her something like, Mama, I no go school, you go. You know, her mom sold recharge cards in front of her school, and she was never ashamed to tell everybody that that was her mom. You know, once she's out of school, she just goes there straight. She also told us about her first pageantry ever. You know, she didn't have a lot of crowd at that time. She was 16, you know, but her mom tried to bring her friends. Her mom just kept on telling everybody, oh, my pikin, they do this one, my pikin, they do this one. You know, for her, she mentioned that growing up wasn't easy, but she's just really thankful that she has her mom, and her mom is more like her backbone. Her mom is the reason why she believes in herself so much. You know, her mom calls her a queen, and her mom always tells her that, look, you can achieve anything, and that's why she has a lot of things in her bucket list, and she keeps ticking them by the day. You know, it was just, I don't know. KIDDWAYA also spoke about his dad, and there's something about KIDDWAYA that just makes me want to listen to him. You know, he mentioned that he's from a very wealthy home, home, but he's just really grateful for the opportunity because he knows that in life it's either you're born into a wealthy home or you're born into a not so wealthy home. But he's just really thankful that he was born into the family that he came from. You know, he told us that his dad in 2001 flew about 14 governors to Italy for his 40th birthday, and that broke the internet, to be honest, because I know a lot of people were dying to find out more about KIDDWAYA. And as much as he tried not to say so much, the little he said actually gave us an idea of how wealthy this guy is. Yes, we all know that KIDDWAYA is from a wealthy background, but he's not someone to rub it in your face. He's not someone to come and be like, oh yeah, I have it, what are you going to do? You know, he's just someone who tries his best to live the best way he can. He actually took some time to talk about his dad and also mentioned to us that he doesn't say thank you enough to his dad, so he was using that opportunity to say thank you to his dad. And guys, while this whole thing was going on in the house here, there was actually a live session that was happening as well. His dad was live on Instagram with Dele Momodu, and you know, Dele Momodu was asking him questions. His dad talked about how he didn't know that KIDDWAYA was going for Big Brother. KIDDWAYA did not mention it to them. Even when KIDDWAYA came to Lagos for the auditions, he did not mention. And so by the time he came back, his dad told him that he needed to isolate and all of that stuff. You know, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this, his dad's interview, towards the end of the video, so let's just move on. Yeah, now for Ozo spoke about his dad and explained that his dad is his hero and that he really wishes to be at least 70% of the kind of man his dad is. You know, his dad is someone who would always allow them make their decisions. So for example, if he tells his dad, I want to jump down from this cliff, his dad will ask him, will it hurt? Now what that means to him is, look, I want you to make your own decisions, but I also want you to be sure that you know the consequences of whatever decisions you make. You guys know that Ozo is closely knit with his family, and you know, every single time he has to talk about his sisters or his mom, his dad, there's always this excitement on his face, so you can tell that they actually share a very close bond. So yeah, I wasn't really surprised to hear all of that about his dad. Now moving on to Laycon, guys, people have stories, okay? People actually have stories, and I don't know, Laycon's dad is late, may his soul rest in peace, you know, but Laycon also explained that his dad was someone who, you know, cared about people more than he cared about himself. And I remember him having this conversation a few days ago with Prince, you know, where he was telling Prince that if his dad has 1 million naira, for example, and somebody comes up to his dad to say, oh, I need 950,000 naira out of that 1 million, his dad would definitely give that person the 950, and then the remaining 50,000, his dad would give that to his mom to sort out whatever it is in the house. But he never thinks about himself. You know, he told us that his dad was really ill, but the man never mentioned it up until it was really late, and you know, nobody could do anything about it. And the reason his dad did that was because he didn't want to put any burden on anybody. He didn't want anybody to be worried about him and all of that, you know. But for yesterday, he mentioned to us that his dad was in the police, you know, and at some point he got a call sometime, you know, to come somewhere, and his dad went there. And when his dad went there, they tried to behead his dad. Guys, I don't know, they tried to behead his dad, and you know, his dad put his hand, his right hand actually, his dad put his right hand there, and you know, instead of them beheading the dad, they chopped off his right hand, you know. And it was so bad, they rushed his dad to the hospital. You know, at some point they stitched the hand, but he could barely use it, so his dad got used to using his left hand. And so when Laycon started using left hand, his dad was like, people should leave him alone. If he's using his left hand, it's for a reason and all of that. You know, he just explained how much his dad would do for people and not necessarily want people to do for him. Anyways, to Lucy also spoke about her mom. She actually has two moms. She has a biological mom who is late, and her other mom who raised her, but that's actually her auntie, you know, but she refers to her as mom. So she had really nice things to say about those two people and all of that. She also talked to us about her body business. You guys know how Lucy can go on and on talking to us about her grilling business and all of that. You know, she went on to tell us that she's the woman she is today because of her mom, that's her auntie who raised her, and she's really thankful to her and all of that stuff. Yeah. Now for Prince, you guys actually know that he's an actual prince, you know, so he's Prince Nelson, and he spoke to us about his dad and how his dad is his hero and how he doesn't really say thank you enough to his dad. You know, he explained that growing up he used to attend a lot of council meetings with his dad and everything. As a young boy, that was really boring for him, but he was more like his dad's handbag. You know, he shared a very close bond with his dad and all of that. And you know, at some point when his dad fell ill, it made him realize that, look, if this man goes, then a lot of things are probably going to go wrong. You know, he was supposed to travel to Australia Australia for schooling and all of that. But at that point when his dad slumped and they rushed him to the hospital and all, he just knew that he had to be there with his mom to take care of his dad because his other siblings were in school, some of them were abroad and all of that. He mentioned that he was very rebellious growing up. He didn't always do what his dad wanted, but his dad always found a way to talk to him, to calm him down, and that his dad is someone who every single time he needs to travel or he needs to go back to school or anything, his dad will always be in the sitting room as early as whatever time he wants to leave the house and will make sure to pray for him. And that there was one time his dad was so ill to the point where he was like, okay, I don't want to disturb my dad, I'm just going to leave the house without calling him and all of that. And that thing got his dad really upset. His dad was like, why didn't you wait for me to bless you? And he's like, but daddy, you were not feeling fine, I didn't want to stress you. And his dad's like, no, I needed to bless you. So he mentioned that while he was thinking about his dad's health and how weak his dad was and all of that, his dad was thinking about blessing him. So it was just all shades of emotional. And I'm like this because my dad does the same thing, my mom does the same thing. Regardless of whatever time I want to leave the house, they're always there. Sometimes we take all of these things for granted, but you really never know how much you miss it when you don't have it. Better stop this rubbish. Oh my god. They had better win this wager. Anyways, for Wathoni, she talked to us about her son. Her son is her hero. She told us that she conceived her son at the age of 23 as a virgin. I'd seen a video of her granting an interview speaking about these things before they actually had this wager. So it wasn't a new gist to me and all of that. She said that she never had sex with the man who got her pregnant. They actually had like an intense makeout and, the sperm got in and all of that. She conceived. It was about after 20-something weeks, she realized that she was pregnant and, it was just weird not having sex and all of that. She also knows that a lot of people might not believe her. A lot of people might think that the story is just a lie and all of that, but she doesn't expect us to believe because she knows that that's her truth. The only person she actually expects to believe is the first guy she had sex with, because of course you have a 5-year-old son and you're saying you've never had sex. The story didn't really add up. So she took time to talk about her son. His name is Kiddrica Ayobami. She mentioned that they share a very close bond, and she actually told us that was why she didn't find what Erica said to her funny, because she doesn't like to talk about her son that much. And in as much as she doesn't really show that, oh, I'm a mother, she wants us to know that she's a mother. In her heart, she knows that she's a mother, because obviously she has a son. Not dressing a certain way, not talking a certain way doesn't mean that she doesn't have the attributes of a mother. She spoke about how her son is always on the phone with her like, mommy, are you okay? She took time to actually talk about her son, and she told us his full names, Ayobami Kiddrica. I think she mentioned one other name, and that the reason he still bears her name and all of that is because she's both his father and his mother. So it's really deep for her and all of that stuff. Now for Neo talked about his dad and how ill his dad has been. He said his dad takes about 25 pills every day. The man is, I don't know if he said diabetic or something, but his dad has a terminal illness, and the man has been struggling with his life and everything. But in spite of all of that, his dad has always found a way to bring everybody together. The man has a lot of children. Neo doesn't know all his siblings. He has about 29 or 30 siblings that he doesn't even know if there are more and all of that. But his dad has always found a way to cater to all their needs. He sent them to school. He mentioned that his dad is someone who feels like, all I owe you is good education and basic life, so whatever else you want, you go and get it yourself. Someone like that with large numbers of children, obviously there's really no way he would give them every single thing they need, but the man tried as much as possible to give them what they needed, the basic things they needed to be successful in life. They have doctors, they have lawyers, they are very large. The Akpofure family is actually a very large one. Venita is related to Neo. For those of you who did not know, I said it here one time that Venita was actually attacking someone on Twitter because he said something about her cousin, but then Neo went on to crack us up when he said that, oh, he doesn't want to speak so much. After saying a lot of things about his dad, was like, I don't want to say so much. I'm like, I don't understand, all these ones you've been saying since is what? Explain it to me. Then for Dora talked about her uncle and how her uncle is her hero. Now the reason she mentioned her uncle is because her uncle was the one that saw her through school. Her uncle has always been there for her family. I'm not really sure what happened to her dad, but the uncle is someone who has always stood in for him, sent her to private university, knowing fully well that he's not that wealthy, but he tries his best to be there for them. And that up until recently, she did not know that her uncle was not even related to them by blood. He was just someone who grew with her dad, so they were more like friends. parents, you know. So it was actually shocking to her, knowing fully well that this man is never related to me by blood and he's doing all of these things, you know. So she actually thanked him and all of that. She also told us that the reason she's business oriented is because her uncle is business oriented. You know, he always tries to make sure that she knows what she's doing. He's always advising her, and he always jokes about, oh, when you're bringing husband, don't bring those ones that put comb in their back pocket, or they are not serious, don't do this, don't do this. So she actually said a lot about her uncle and thanked him as well. Now for Tolani Bad, Tolani mentioned that her heroes are her sisters. You know, she shares a very close bond with her sisters, and of course they do almost everything together. She talked about her life briefly abroad and all of that, and just what has led up to her being here right now. It was just all shades of emotional in Biggie's house last night, and I felt like it was more of a therapy session. You know, where you just sit down with a group of people and you guys are talking about things that are really dear to you, things that you would not readily tell just anybody, or things that you would not just mention, so to speak. So in that same vein, I'm also going to use this opportunity to thank my parents. You know, I'm not from a wealthy home. You know, my dad did not have everything, my mom did not have everything, but they made sure to give us the best that they could afford, and I don't think I say thank you enough. So this is me saying thank you, daddy, thank you, mommy, for every single thing. Thank you for all the times you had to sacrifice a lot just to make sure that we have what we need. We didn't necessarily have everything we wanted, but I'm definitely sure that we had everything we needed, because I mean, if we didn't, then I don't think I'll be here, because I might have just been one random girl on the street doing nothing basically. Yeah, I just want to say thank you to my dad and my mom. Guys, let me know in the comment section who your hero is. Tell me why, you know, why do you feel that way about them? Let's just have a moment to, you know, get to know ourselves. If you feel like it's too personal and you don't want to share, that's fine, but if you also feel like you can share a little bit of yourself with me, I would truly appreciate it. Okay, I'm sorry I broke down talking about these things, but like I said, I'm really in tune with my emotions, and sometimes it gets the better part of me and all of that. Anyways, that is that for that, guys. Let's just move on. Yeah, Lucy finally anchored a program. Yay! Can we rest now? You know, she's always like, oh, it's Tricky T that's always doing this, Tricky T is always doing that. The housemates finally gave her the opportunity to do it, and personally, I don't feel like she did a bad job. I feel like because of the kind of presentation it was, you know, emotional, moody and all of that, she was able to handle it, because Lucy is very deep. So I feel like she did that well. And then after they finished their presentations and all of that, Ozzo gave us his final words. So I'm just going to read out what he said to us, okay? In his words, may you not use the words you heard from us today to spite us. We all make mistakes and we're willing to do better. We're willing to come up with better results tomorrow. And I feel like this is deep, because a lot of people will take these things they've said now and, you know, go and keep it somewhere so that in the future when they say something, they'll go and bring it back. Guys, I don't think it should be like that. For me, that's not a fair thing to do, because them sharing these things is not really because they wanted to share it, but Biggie asked them to do it. It was a task, you know, so they had no choice. And of course, they had to be honest. They had to be sincere about everything they came out to say yesterday. So using it against them would be very unfair. So if you're that person who has saved up a lot of things they've said, or because in the future I'm going to bring it out and drag them, please stop. It's not nice. It's not nice. Do not make people feel really scared of telling you things about themselves, because, oh, who knows who is listening, who knows what you're going to do with the information and all of that. I don't think that's a fair thing to do, in my opinion, okay? Also went on to thank the housemates for making sure that the whole process was smooth. He thanked Wathoni for bringing up songs to cheer them on while they were painting and doing all of that stuff. And he also mentioned that they have to wait up until today for Big Brother to announce whether or not they won their wagers. So up until now that I'm making this video, Biggie hasn't mentioned anything, because it's really early in the morning, and whatever else Biggie is going to say, he's probably going to say it much later, and I would either make a video about it if there's something else happening, or better still, I'll post it on my community tab. So guys, always be on the lookout for my post on my community tab, because I try to put up urgent matters, you know, issues that I know that I can't really film about. I just try to put them there, okay? Now let's go back to that Instagram live I talked about. Yeah, KIDDWAYA'S dad actually said a lot. You know, he talked about their family, talked about KIDDWAYA, talked about so many things, but the one part that stood out to me was the part where his dad mentioned that he doesn't actually have any issues if Kiddwaya decides to make Erica his bride. So all the Kiddrica shippers, be ready for a wedding, because it's like wedding bell is ringing somewhere.
Of Kid and his wife. I know it's going to be an international wedding. We will go all over the world.
Oh yes, of course.
Yes, there has to be at least one Versace wedding in Italy. We must go to Italy for one Versace.
I will do another one here for his fans, for his massive fans. Let them also enjoy.
Yes, for the fans. Yes, so
Yeah, let them enjoy the part of the something.
that would be nice.
And if you ask me for the Ashwebi color, I'll say turquoise lockdown pink. Yeah, turquoise lockdown pink with a little bit of Santana white, you know, big still like that. I don't know what that color is, but oh my god, Becca, where is this rubbish coming from? Guys, it was just something his dad said. We really do not know if KIDDWAYA has gotten to that point where he wants to get a bride, let alone choosing Erica. But regardless of whatever their decisions would be when they come out, we're all for it. I mean, that's what we signed up for, okay? But guys, let me just tell you, this same KIDDWAYA and Erica that we're talking about, oh, wedding and all of that stuff, both of them had a conversation in bed very late yesterday, and KIDDWAYA was like, loving a guy like me is risky. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, Erica, are you listening? Because I was actually having a conversation with Erica, and I was like, loving a guy like me is risky. And then Erica in turn mentioned to him that, look, for me to love a guy, it has to come with a lot of trust. And then KIDDWAYA was like, do you trust me? And Auntie Erica said no. And that's the truth, guys. You really cannot tell if KIDDWAYA is serious about Erica. I know he likes her, but I really cannot say so much about their relationship and just what it is really about. Up until they come out of the house, it might just all be guesswork and all of that. So I don't want to be that person who will come up and say, oh yes, they're going to get married, when in reality they've never even thought about that. So all of this whole Ashwebi thing I mentioned has got to wait, because they need to be sure that they really want to be with one another. Now, another couple that cracked me up last night was Neo and V. Guys, these people always fight about food. In fact, Nengi was like, Neo, now every time you and this your babe, they fight for food. I never see this kind of couple before. Now, last night, yeah, after that presentation, V was sitting with Neo, and she was like, oh, everything you said about your dad just reminds me about my dad, but then with lesser kids and all of that. Now, after they talked about that, V now felt like it was time for her to mention the whole food fight thing, because she spoke to Lekon earlier in the day, and Lekon was like, you guys need to sit down and talk about this whole thing, because you can't always be fighting for food, you can't always be doing this. So she felt like, okay, let me just talk to this guy. So she told him that, oh yeah, they said we always fight for food, and the guy's like, look, I cannot fight for food with you. That for him, the thing is, when he asked her, oh, let me share your drink or let me share your chicken, by the way, guys, it was chicken they were dragging yesterday. You know, he told her that for him, it's not really because he needs those things. It's just because he thinks it's sweet, you know, sharing things with her. You know, for him, it feels like if somebody comes to V and says, oh, V, give me this biro, and she refuses, if he comes, V should be able to give it to him. You know, he just thinks it's romantic, he thinks it's sweet. But for V, she's like, I don't want to share every freaking thing. I want to have my own things as well. Yes, I like to share things with you, but it doesn't have to be everything. I mean, something as little as my drink, I want to at least have that for myself. They talked about it though. Neo was like, well, I mean, I don't know how you see it and how you take it, but for me, it's just really sweet, and that's why I do it. But if you don't want me to do it, then it's fine. Now, at some point, yeah, Kayode moved away from there. Now, by the time he came back to them, they were talking about, oh, I'm 1 in a million. Neo was telling V, oh, you never meet another guy like me. It's only me in this world, blah, blah, blah. And V's like, obviously, you've never met a girl like me too. Duh. You know, both of them had that conversation and all. And they ended it on the note when Neo was like, Wathoni makes me want to have a baby, you know, because Wathoni's story was really touching and all of that, and he shared a very long kiss with V.
Wathoni makes me want to have a baby. You're gonna have to wait until you marry me.
Guys, this couple, I know they're not perfect. I know that they have their issues. Neo get for body, V get for body, but two of them being together makes me happy. I don't know why. It's just weird, but I like the both of them together. I like the dynamics of their relationship. They are crazy people, you know, they find a way to balance things out. It's just who they are and how they've chosen to be, so we have no choice but to take it like that. Okay, anyways, guys, that's all the gist I have for you in this particular video. I know this was a very lengthy video, and like I said, I didn't want to just come and do a shabby job. I really wanted to tell you guys how I felt about the presentation without necessarily rushing just because I was tired or stuff like that. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching it. If you did, please don't forget to give me a very big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed, and guys, please turn on post notifications just so you get notified every single time I put out a new video. I know I didn't talk about the Kuda bank challenge thing. I did not watch it. I have no idea what it was about, so if you watched it, guys, please let me know what it was about in the comment section, because I see the advert every time and I'm like, what do you guys mean bank of the free? Like, explain it to me. So if you understand what it is about, let me know. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will definitely see you guys on the next one. All right, bye guys. Mwah.